All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive.
Today, we're tackling something that I think is super relevant to just about everyone out there.
hmm
It's all about building a reputation for reliability
Oh, yeah,
at work.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of basic, like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
be reliable, show up on time,
Yeah, yeah.
do what you say you're going to do.
It's like common sense,
Yeah.
but we actually found this really cool source
Okay.
that goes way deeper.
Than just the surface level.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
it really gets into,
Why this is so important,
okay.
like how it can really make or break your career.
Mm.
So,
We want to share some of those insights with you today.
awesome.
The first thing that really jumped out at me from this source
Yeah.
was,
How they emphasized meeting deadlines.
yeah.
But it wasn't just like,
Oh, with the deadline, whatever.
right,
It was more about
how you handle
the whole process.
the process. Absolutely.
So have you ever had that experience?
Oh, yeah.
Where, like,
Many times.
you're waiting on somebody to get you something,
Yeah.
and they just go radio silent.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, the deadline's passed, and you're like,
You're like, where is this person?
yeah, what's going on?
Do they forget about this?
Exactly. And it's just so frustrating, right? You're left hanging,
And it just like makes you
question, like,
Yeah.
their reliability.
you lose trust immediately.
Yes.
And so the source really emphasizes that
Right.
proactive communication
Key.
it's huge.
Like,
But
if something comes up,
you need to let people know as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And,
So they-
this source even suggested like,
setting up recurring reminders
oh, interesting.
in your calendar to, like, check in with people, even if things are going smoothly.
Yeah.
Just to be like,
Yeah.
hey, just want to let you know everything's on track.
Exactly.
Still good to go.
Yeah. Because it shows that you respect their time,
hmm
that you're on top of it.
Absolutely.
And it just builds that trust. Like,
Yeah.
I can count on this person. They're going to
Yeah.
keep me informed.
Whether things are good or bad.
It's all about managing those expectations.
Yes, exactly.
And reducing anxiety for everyone involved.
Okay, so speaking of consistency,
Yeah.
this source,
Highlighted consistent high performance
okay,
as like a major factor.
in building a reputation for reliability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy to say, right? It
Yeah,
is
yeah.
like, oh yeah, I'm going to be a high performer.
Right.
I'm going to do great work all the
I
time.
think actually doing it
Yeah.
consistently
Yeah.
is a whole other ballgame.
It's a lot harder
Yeah.
than it sounds.
And I had this colleague once
Okay.
who was so brilliant.
But totally unpredictable. Like
Well,
some days,
They would just, like, knock it out of the park.
yeah,
And then other days,
they would miss deadlines completely.
oh, wow.
And it was just like,
I can't rely on this person
well,
for
that's
anything.
because I never know what I'm going to get. And that unpredictability really undermines the trust that you're trying to build.
Yeah.
So I guess,
The question is,
how do we cultivate that consistency?
right, how do we make it a habit?
Yeah, like how do we
Show up
and be reliable?
day after day.
So I think it starts with building those positive habits,
Okay.
right?
So,
Think about it like this. What are some small
yeah,
daily actions that you can take?
to ensure consistent performance.
Okay.
So maybe it's a morning routine
Okay.
that sets you up for focus.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's having a system for prioritizing your tasks,
Okay.
or even just something as simple as blocking out time in your calendar
Yeah.
for deep work,
Right.
like no distraction,
Exactly.
just focused work time.
You got to train those reliability muscles.
I like that.
Train those reliability muscles.
Just like you would for a marathon.
yeah.
You got to build up that endurance.
Okay, so
This source also,
talked about proactive communication
yes,
throughout a project,
not just
when things go wrong.
right, not just when there are problems.
Exactly.
That's
It's like
sorry.
it's like if you were on a road trip with friends,
Okay.
like you would
So
hear
not tell them where you're going, or if you're going to be late,
right.
you would keep them in the loop.
Exactly. So let's say
Okay.
you're working on a
Software development project,
okay.
keeping the team updated on bug fixes.
Mm-hmm.
Not only keeps them informed, but it also builds confidence
Yes.
in your commitment to quality.
Absolutely.
It's like you're saying, hey, I'm on top of this.
I'm taking care of it.
I'm handling it
You can trust me.
to get it done.
It really fosters a culture of transparency and trust.
Okay, so now let's talk about mistakes.
Yeah.
Because
We all make them.
we all do. Nobody's perfect.
Right. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
What this source really emphasized was
How you handle those mistakes
right.
is what really sets reliable people apart.
Exactly. And
Okay.
owning up to them,
Can be tough
it can be really hard. Nobody likes to admit,
that they messed up.
but the source actually presented it
as a strength.
It is a strength.
Yeah.
Because admitting a mistake
Shows accountability
Mm-hmm.
and a willingness to learn.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And have you ever seen someone try to hide a mistake?
Oh, yeah.
What happens? It just makes things worse.
It always does.
Right.
Yeah.
It just erodes trust even further.
Yeah. And it's like,
Think about a time when you saw someone
mm-hmm.
own up to a mistake.
Yeah,
Didn't you respect them more?
absolutely.
Because it shows integrity.
Precisely.
It's like
They're not trying to,
pass the buck
yeah,
or blame someone else.
they're taking responsibility.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
Okay, so
That brings us to our final point,
all right.
which is,
Following through
yes,
on commitments.
because commitments are like promises.
They are.
And when you break a promise,
Even a small one.
it damages your credibility.
It really does.
So-
If someone consistently flakes on you for like meeting for coffee,
Yeah.
eventually you just stop believing.
You give up
Yeah.
that they're going to show up for anything.
So it all comes down to,
Showing, not just telling.
I love that.
Right.
Like anyone can say,
Oh, yeah, I'm reliable.
I'm trustworthy,
You can count on me.
but you have to actually,
Demonstrate it.
yeah, you got to walk the walk.
Yes.
And following through on those commitments.
Even the small ones.
Even the little things
Yeah.
shows that you have integrity,
Mm-hmm.
and that builds trust over time.
It's those small actions.
That really add up.
Yeah.
So ultimately,
Reliability isn't about being perfect.
right,
It's about showing up consistently.
and doing what you say you're going to do.
It's about being that person that others can depend on,
Yeah.
no matter what.
And having that
Can
reputation.
really open doors
Oh, yeah.
in your career.
It could take you far.
So
That's what we wanted to share with you today from this awesome source.
yeah, some great insights there about building a reputation for reliability.
And we hope you can put some of these tips into practice
Yeah, absolutely.
and really
Become that go-to person.
that everyone knows they can count on.
Become indispensable.
Yes.
All right. That's it for our deep dive today.
Thanks for joining us,
Thanks, everyone,
and we'll see you next time.
for another deep dive.